Ты на ноутбуке включи звук. Включен? Раз, два, три, четыре, пять, шесть, семь, восемь, девять, 10. На камеру посмотрите, звук есть? Нормально? Ребят? У вас нет звука? Раз. Один-два раз. Это. Раз. Раз, два, три. Нет ничего. Ни на основном, нигде ничего нет, что ли? Может, корму по-другому, Марсель, быстренько.
на прямую у тебя, посмотри, есть? Нету? Значит, сама железка.
Она, по-моему, не сразу цепляется, почему-то это время надо. Марсель, попробуйте быстренько. Есть, нет. Шестнадцать, 17, 18. Сразу не будет, как Марсель воткнулся, там секунд 10 или на инициализацию, по-моему, нужно было. 20, 30, 40. Шестнадцать, 17, 18. Так. Нету, да?
Громче говорить, может быть, хотя бы так выяснить ситуацию. Пойдет? Давайте микрофоны тогда накидаем сюда, коллеги. Гуль, найдешь мне кого-нибудь тогда из тех, кто присутствует на места после брифинга переговорить? Можете вот сюда вот наставиться как-нибудь. Попробуем. Давайте побольше. Сюда. 7 места хватит. Вот сюда поставьте. Все, коллеги, готовы? То здесь будет еще одно мероприятие, тоже не менее важное, чтобы нам ложиться в наш тайм. Устраивает вас звук? А телеки проверьте, вот я включаю. Слишком много техники сконцентрировано в одном месте, я так понимаю. А микрофон? Все, слышно меня, да? Давайте начнем уже. Добрый день, коллеги. У нас в эти минуты Рустам Нургалиевич принимает участие в совместном заседании коллегии Министерства строительства и жилищно-коммунального хозяйства Российской Федерации и комиссии, которую, собственно, Рустам Нургалиевич возглавляет по направлению строительства и жилищно-коммунального коммунальное хозяйство «Городская среда». На совместном заседании, которое идет в эти минуты, обсуждают стратегию развития строительной отрасли и жилищно-коммунального хозяйства России до 30 года с прогнозом на период до 35 года. Ну, в Татарстане, как вы знаете, ввод жилья является одним из показателей социально-экономического развития. Республика традиционно занимает лидирующие позиции по объему вводимого жилья. Вот только по итогам прошлого года, 2021-го, введено чуть более 3 миллионов квадратных метров. Собственно, по этому показателю мы оказались по итогам прошлого года на первом месте. Ну и согласно национальному проекту, до 30 года в республике планируется построить до 28 миллионов квадратных метров жилья. На сегодняшний день в республике работает порядка 80 застройщиков, чуть больше, и которые ведут строительство 160
Eşek. Kay.
смотри, церемония награждения. Вот он вышел, и вот он должен, команда к нему выходит, он должен вручать, а здесь уже ноги.
Может быть, смотрите, мое предложение. Не все стулья
Давай,
оставить.
давай назад утаскиваем этот ряд.
Этот ряд, да, мне кажется,
Назад
нужно, иначе
тащите.
то просто
Середину,
негде.
середину только убрать. 3 стула первых.
Здесь этот ряд просто перекрыть.
Правильнее будет. Ну,
Потому что иначе тут будет очень
ну да, это
грязная каша такая получится.
Этот ряд назад.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, we invite you into the press conference room of the Open International Competition for the development of the concept of the development of the Kamal Theatre. Dear press, we all invite you to enter to the room. Please take the first rows, leaving the last rows for our architectural participants. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please come into the press conference room of the Open International Contest for the development of the architectural concept of Kamal starts in several minutes. Please pay attention to the fact that the seats in the beginning of the room are for journalists, and we ask our architectural participants to take the last two rows. Dear architects, please, the last two rows are at your disposal, and we ask the journalists to go forward. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention that our press conference is held in 3 languages: Russian, English and Tatar. For those of you who need a simultaneous translation, there is an equipment on your seats for simultaneous translation where you have to choose the proper channel. If you would like to listen to the press conference in Russian, it's channel 1, English channel 2, Tatar channel 3. We have a simultaneous translation. Please take care to adjust your equipment for simultaneous translation because the speakers are going to speak in 3 languages. Colleagues, we have spare places. Here are 2 seats. Please do not stand in the aisle or behind. There are free seats here. Dear colleagues, once again, I would like to remind you that the press conference is held in 3 languages: Russian, Tatar, and English. The simultaneous translation equipment is on your seats. First channel is Russian, second is English, and third is Tatar. We also kindly ask you to switch off the sound of your mobile phones and other gadgets. The press conference is broadcast on air, and it's very important for us not to have any noise. Dear guests, we are starting in a few minutes.
Dear colleagues, may I move that we start the videos? Hello, good morning. My name is Ramil Maziev. I am the actor of Glaskar Theater, which is why moderating this event is of great importance to me. Today's press conference is dedicated to an important event, to the contest Open International on the development of the project for the new building of Tukay Glaskarkamo Academic Theater. We are having this in 3 languages, and we are looking forward to have your broadcast comments in 3 languages: Tatar, Russian, or English. Dear friends, today's event is dedicated to the press conference of the winners for the Glaskarkamo Tatar Academic Theater building development. We are now live and we are broadcasting the event to you over the world in 3 languages. So be happy to have questions in Tatar, Russian, or English. And I believe that we can now have the video dedicated to our contest.
Театр дегеннен біздің татарлар сол баядетке қылып ойын болдырған екен.
Татарыма сағым.
Мен де солай білдім. Ой, онда бір қота оқырға керек еді. Ой, оқырға біздің мұсылман ағайынның дауысы жетмес.
Татарский театр родился среди народа, в самом его сердце, в домах татар. Простые юноши и девушки без специального образования и опыта стали первыми актерами, а их друзья и родственники – зрителями этих постановок. 22 декабря 1906 года состоялся первый публичный спектакль на татарском языке. Эта дата вошла в историю как день рождения татарского театра. А первая профессиональная театральная труппа возникла весной 1907 года. Мы знаем ее под именем «Саяр». Это значит «странствующая звезда». И правда, под стать своему названию, эта труппа много гастролировала. Именно саяровцы стали прародителями всех национальных театров Российской империи. Да, их жизнь была совсем непростой, но они всегда горячо приветствовали перемены, выражали со сцены смелые взгляды. Только представьте, чего стоило появление первой женщины-актрисы в консервативном обществе. В 1922 году в Советском Союзе было принято решение создать единый государственный показательный татарский драматический театр. Первый национальный театр страны. В год своего 20-летия татарский театр первым среди национальных театров получает почетный академический статус. Теперь он стоит на одной ступени с Большим Александринским театром, МХАТом. Были разные времена. Репрессии заставляли многих творцов замолчать, а во время войны театр потерял почти треть коллектива. Но он выстоял, стал символом татар и центром, куда ежегодно съезжаются все тюркские театры мира. Многие спектакли стали частью нашей идентичности, культурным кодом нации. И теперь мы стоим перед новым этапом развития. Нам предстоит узнать, каким будет новый татарский театр. Teatrda şartlı ulğaydı. Evet, ana da bir şap kına ремонт şeyler деген sözünü işittim.
Принято было президентом потрясающее решение.
Сегодня стоит задача по строительству нового современного здания Татарского государственного академического театра имени Галяскара Камала.
Мы гордимся тем, что сегодня в Казани собрались лучшие архитекторы и специалисты в проектировании не только нашего Татарстана, России, но и других стран мира. Это вызов не только для вас, но и для нас.
Дать новый толчок для развития этой территории, дать новую жизнь, чтобы мы гордились этим зданием, гордились этими решениями.
При том, что спектакль только на татарском языке, это одно из самых посещаемых учреждений культуры. Я надеюсь, что вы вот на кончиках пальцев, что называется, почувствуете, как люди относятся к этому месту. Для людей это очень серьезная часть их идентичности, для многих это очень серьезное переживание.
Если смотреть на философию здания, то это душа татарского народа. Вот насколько вы проникнетесь, чем живет народ, да, тем, я думаю, более встроенный, более точный будет и решение по театру.
Стать участником такого события очень важно, очень приятно и очень вдохновляет.
Очень сильно горим архитектурой, безумно любим наш город. Мы видим огромный потенциал этого проекта.
Мне кажется, это серьезный профессиональный вызов для всех нас.
И мне очень хочется, чтобы люди, которые сегодня приехали сюда первый раз, полюбили бы нашу землю так же, как любим ее мы. В том числе благодаря новым пространствам театра.
Театр – это сердце татарского народа. И то, в каком теле оно будет биться, решается прямо сейчас.
Дорогие друзья, позвольте представить
Dear
вам
friends, may I introduce to
наших
you
сегодняшних
our
спикеров.
today's speakers.
Ильсур Раисович
Ilsur
Медшин,
Medшин,
председатель жюри
chairman of
мэр
the jury,
Казани.
the mayor of Kazan.
Ирада Хафизяновна Аюпова, министр
Irada
культуры
Ayupova,
Республики
Minister for
Татарстан.
Culture of the Republic
Ильсияр
of Tatarstan.
Мисхатовна Тухватуллина,
Ильсияр
главный
Тухватуллина,
архитектор
chief
Казани.
architect of Kazan.
Дэвид Базульт,
David
основатель
Bazulto,
Arch-Daily.
the founder of
Он к нам
Arch Daily,
подключится онлайн.
will be connecting
Наталья
online.
Львовна Фишман-Бекмамбетова, помощник президента
Наталья
Республики Татарстан, сопредседатель
Фишман-Бекмамбетова,
экспертного
the
совета. Фарид
aide to the
Рафкатович
president of
Мекчентаев, главный режиссер Татарского
Tatarstan,
государственного академического
co-chairman
театра
of
имени Галяскара
Expert
Камала.
Council, Farid Bekcentayev,
Слово
the
Ильсуру Раисовичу
artistic
Медшину.
director of Kamal Theater. The word to Ilsur Medşin. Good morning, good afternoon. All the participants of the contests, those present here, dear friends, I would like to start with the words of being acknowledging our tiredness, a rare contest that has taken us all these discussions up to 1 a.m., I would dare say. We started all these discussions at 10 a.m. Whilst we started at 10 a.m. yesterday morning, with looking at the history of theatrical life of Russia and Soviet Union and even previous periods. So that was quite an intense day. I would like to thank our president, Rustam Minnikhanov, for the festival of the soul that he has given to us, who is once again raising the bar of the cultural life of our republic and its capital, and the fact that today we are living as such a event, the stars of architecture, the best of the best architects are coming to us to share their ideas. It's a great event, not just for the architects or acting architects or the students of architecture who would be shaping our tomorrow, but for all of us. Once again, we started this with thanks to Renata Butazidinov, who was the one who requested the repair of the existing theater, and Mr. President, having seen some sites, has understood that the Republic needs to make next step. And that was an unexpected step for us, and we are grateful for his decision to organize such a contest. A great number of participants, over 500 participants, 39 went into the final part, and only 8 get to the last stage. Thank you for talking about those in detail. Dear representatives of mass media, after 4 months of intensive work, we had the final of 8 works delivered to us yesterday. I was very much pleased that Kazan Architectural Bureaus took part, the team of Kazan State Architecture and Construction University, and many others. Almost 50% of the finalists had representatives of Kazan School of Architecture and Consortia. And that was a priceless experience for them and for all of us. So that's a celebration of architecture, which we hope will stay with us forever. It's now becoming a tradition to have this international architectural contests, and each one of these is taking us to a new level, helping us to grow together. Of 8 we have heard yesterday, we had 3 get to the prize position in the finals, 3 bureaus. Metropolis, our colleagues from Austria, Bauhaus, the Japanese Architects and Consortium, and Bespoke. That's a consortium bringing in Asif Khan, the famous architect, star. Well, all are the stars. I guess some stars are somewhat brighter. Who has left the mark at Dubai Expo this year, bringing joy to people. Just for you to understand the caliber of the stars, we had members of the jury in all. And surprisingly, opinions ended up being different. Myself, as a chairman of the jury, had my own opinion. Well, we all had our own opinions. As a result, with 0.7 of advantage in the final, we got Bauhaus, the Japanese project, becoming a winner, which is something we congratulate them with. Dear colleagues, either don't show it or show people in places. The first place, as Elizabeth has said, ended up being the consortium of Bauhaus Kingakuma. 0.7 points out of what? We had over 30, if I am not mistaken, 37. The difference was 0.7 points. Just a few details. We had bright stars of theatrical life, of Russian Federation theatrical life, such as Choban Khamatov, many others, Sergei Kuznetsov, chief architect of Moscow, myself, our chief architect. We, for example, we voted for Bespoke, for Asif Khan.
И вся архитектурное сообщество.
and whole of the
То есть я хочу
architectural
сказать,
community.
насколько конкурс, он, во-первых, я хочу отдельные слова. Сергей у нас здесь организатор.
Sergey is here, the organizer. I would like to say the words of gratitude of ours
Все
to
участники и экспертного совета.
this team that organized this event, all participants of the expert council of the architectural bureau
Были одинаковы в оценке, что
were
очень профессиональная
sharing this assessment that the work was organized very professionally. We were in hybrid format, some in offline, some online. But once again,
Ринат Зидинов, Искандер Хайруллин, народный
that's what we came up with.
республики.
As a team, we had many participants: Iskander Razidinov, Razil Valiyev, Tatar intelligentsia. Speaking to us, for me, it was a stunning thing. The white sheet of Bespoke was very much close to us. The white Kremlin, the Marjani, etc. But our older generation has chosen that matter and this arrow, and that was an unexpected outcome that such a courageous avant-garde solution was chosen, whilst something which is more classic or something closer to our history. Just let me say the words. Sergei Kuznetsov said that the Bespoke project was something stunning, that's something that we need for all of the architects. A wonderful project was presented by Metropolis, the consortium. The presenting gentleman started by saying that I was inspired by Shurale tale. And the way he presented this, he brought it into the theater. I would give an example of Megabudka, the very young team that was beginning, the first one presenting, and they got fourth. The Novikov studio consortium was fifth. Rождественка dedicated a lot of attention to Tatar settlement. We actually witnessed such a deep dive of all these teams in the history of Tatars and this area. For us, it was as if graduating from university. Throughout yesterday was obviously the peak, but then it was 4 months of this work. So the words of gratitude of mine go to everybody, the organizers, the participants, for the great work that was conducted. Secondly, we would clearly want, with all the colleagues of ours with whom we worked for 4 months, we would like to see our project be implemented. I really want very much, and I will be meeting with Asif Khan today. I would like to request him that his masterpieces would start being presented at the Architectural Map of Kazan. We are quite active in building. We have some ideas. We are already working with the same Rождественска at Old Tatar settlement. In case of Megabudka, the young team, those who watched online, and I know that they're being met today and being offered a project for the development in the riverport. Well, this joint work is laying the rails into tomorrow for us. But I would like to once again state that this was very, very professional, very intense work that has taken place, and the discussion was frank. We stopped at 10:30. I got home at 1. I don't know what you have done. I didn't count time. But then we were sitting, for over 12 hours before that. I wanted to say thank you for the wonderful work. And I'd like to thank Mr. President. Yes, we started by visiting the theater. What Evgeny Mironov said, which is something important as well, Chuban Khamatova has supported that it doesn't matter what project you choose out of the three finalists, but we are truly jealous to you that Kazan and Tatarstan spectators and the guests of Theatrical Kazan will have a chance to be in this temple of culture and interacting with Farid. I overheard in their interaction, said myself, as an artistic director, I would really think now with what to come to such a stage that this is a challenge for us, the artists. Obviously, the old experience would require, and the new reality would require you to transform. So in that sense, I would like to thank everybody for the great, big, constructive work. Thank you to everybody.
The floor is given to Irada Khafizyan Ayupova. Good afternoon, everyone. You know, Ilsur Raisovich is quite right. Yesterday we witnessed an amazing event. The event when the whole world, due to the participation in this competition, was involved into our culture, our history. And this competition helped us to make our culture more popular and well-known, our people, our traditions, our heritage. The moreover, in this year of the cultural heritage of the people of Russian Federation, I think that today many will express their opinions, but I would like to share my happiness. You know, I am a very happy person, and I am very lucky, and I sincerely express my gratitude for that to Rustam Nurgalevich, to Ilsur Raisovich, Natalia Lvovna Tuyoti. It happened that I have been a minister for 4 years already, and 2 theaters have been built, the drama theater in Nabezhnye Chelny. This year we are opening artisan shop. We started capital overhaul of the Young Spectator Theater in the Nizhnekamsk. And the creme de la creme is the competition which was held in Kazan. Frankly speaking, I couldn't even dream about this thing happening in such difficult period of time, when many people just look today, if you look at the comments, because everybody is writing, why do we need this? I would like to express my position. People is not broken until its spirit is broken. It's very important that we're leaving our footprint in the form of our artistic masterpieces, new novels, new operas, new symphonies, a new building for cultural facilities. The spirit of our people is not broken. We have future. Yes, you can live just for today. You can complain that this is bad, that is bad. Just in the morning, we met the colleagues from Chuvash Republic who celebrated the year which was dedicated to Kazan last year. And we wanted to organize a set of events, and we said how difficult it was 80 years ago when hundreds of thousands of people of our republic were building Kazan in such a horrible time. But at that time, they built community centers. They opened outstanding palace sports in Zelenodolsk. That's why I express my sincere gratitude to all those who took part in this competition. I express gratitude to the administration of our republic. Nowhere else in Russia do they have it. Such tendencies, in fact, do not exist nowhere in the world. Just look what kind of facilities we are commissioning and opening. We are in a wonderful site. We have opened a national library. We have a gallery of modern art. We have very many art objects. People come to us and envy us. And I joined to Ilsur Raisovich, and I just envied to myself. Yes, because I was always for the Bespoke project, because Bespoke and Wow House are two opposite projects. If you draw a line, then they will be on the opposite sides of the line. For me, the project which was proposed by Asif Khan is a modern tendency when there is something hidden and anyone can understand it as he or she wants. But the victory was very objective, very honest. We voted with our hearts. That's why the most important conclusion is that we must go further, we must build a theater, and we are facing the most difficult part of work, because all projects had certain remarks from the theater, from the organization of the spaces. Yes, every project needs improvement, so that people who come here to the theater feel themselves comfortable, cozy, so that they would like to come back. I would like to add we will have some other work front. It's concerning the repertoire of the theater. We have not three stages. There will be a lot of stages. There will be enough work for the theater, and the theater will have another challenge to come to the opening of the theater with a rich repertoire for our spectators. Thank you very much. The floor is given to Elzira Mskhatorovna Dukhvatulina, Chief Architect of Kazan. Good afternoon, colleagues. I congratulate you with the events that are happening in Kazan, with a very rare event, with a great event, facilities of such level, with such list of competitors, is not an ordinary event. I am happy that we are all participating and watching all this. I am very grateful to the President of our Republic, Ilsur Raisovich, for supporting this solution, very difficult solution. They have chosen the site and gave us the possibility to enjoy the works of those people who took part in the competition. I would like to say that 4 months which the work took were 4 months of happiness, and meeting the participants was a very difficult dialogue with all the team, because we were trying to see the signs, the symbols which we would like to integrate into this project, what we would like to see. It's not a secret that there were the teams which initially set forth this task of feeling what identity of people is. And every consultation, they were speaking about this, not about technicalities, but something which would reflect the national spirit in this facility. And just few people witnessed the crystallization of these ideas which we have seen. It is a great happiness. I am very grateful to all teams. I am especially grateful to Kazan teams. You did amazing work. 4 months of such a level, and to prepare such projects with a comprehensive functional, with the most difficult technical task, when we not just asked to build a facility, but we also asked to design a temple for people's soul, where it can open itself, where it will reveal itself completely. It was the most important task for all architects. And we can see the teams leading this competition who, first of all, were adjusted to disclosing identity. I would like also to say that I propose all architects to use the possibility as much as possible of the context gives to us. And in the afternoon at 2:30, I invite all of you to the Architectural Institute, all competitors, to tell about their projects, to discuss together with the architects. It is amazing experience. And when you look at all presentations in details or attentively, you will get a professional pleasure. And I'm very grateful to the competition that due to it, we saw the world-level facility which fulfilled all requirements of the task and even more. The team that has found this intangible aspect of identity and the message to the future of the architectural facility, a very delicate message, not imposing anything, and the facility which is timeless is the facility of Asif Khan. And I express my special gratitude to this team. Thank you. The floor is given to David Bazulda, the founder of Arha Daily. He is online.
Thank you. Over the past years, I have seen from my global perspective at Arha Daily, that Kazan has incubated a unique architectural transformation with a deep and positive impact on the quality of public spaces and therefore in the daily lives of its citizens. A strong, transparent, and forward-looking architecture competition strategy has been instrumental to achieve this vision, a process that requires extra effort sometimes, but that pays out tremendously as it attracts some of the world's leading architecture bureaus to compete for the best ideas, putting Kazan on the contemporary architecture world map. This kind of process needs long-term commitment from authorities, as the speed of architecture and city development is sometimes slower due to the complexity. And Kazan has shown that this is possible. Architecture projects in Kazan have been recognized with important architecture awards, giving external recognition and backing to this process. This process today has resulted in some of the world's most renowned practices participating to design the new Kamal Theater. Offices that are usually competing to design the top cultural venues in the capitals of the world have seen in this framework, in this competition, a real opportunity and have come to give their best today, collaborating with local practices, creating new shared knowledge that pushes architecture forward. I also want to congratulate everyone who participated in the organization of the competition. It is a silent yet challenging process that ensures that great ideas can become reality, being a project on itself, and also to the authorities for trusting and believing in the transformational power of architecture.
The floor is given to Natalia Lьвовна Фишман-Бекмаметова. Thank you, colleagues. First of all, we parted very late yesterday. Yes. Someone was not able to go to sleep. Part of the speakers cried, and this was not just one person. Of course, these were not men. Yes, Sermis Khatna is speaking about us. Look, what I would like to say, first of all, I'm extremely grateful for this possibility because I am sincerely proud what Kazan is choosing of. When Kazan is choosing of the best world stars, real world stars, I think it's a great victory. Second, I'm proud of being able. Many people yesterday gave their comments, even high-level officials from other regions said, yes, you are sitting in the jury for so long time, you are so tough, you pay so much attention. Yes, can you... the list of our jurors. First of all, our international colleagues, David Bazulta, Farukh Derekshani, director of Aga Khan contest in architecture, which was held in Kazan in 2019. I cannot list all. Boris Yefikhananov, Evgeny Mironov, Chulpan Khamatov, fantastic expert council, people who have been working with us and who started working more than 4 months before. A quality of people is outstanding, and it's great that it is done together with the theater, together with Kazan professionals, and excursions with Kazan regional specialists, and Ilsiar Miskhatovna also proposed to organize this event in the Architectural University. Kazan team manifest wonderful growth. I would like to remind what happened to the Kaban embankment and how it was 7 years ago. They show incredible growth. Why are we not look so happy? Because I also was for Asif, and I can speak quite frankly about that. If there were no their work, of course, Kanga Kuma would win unanimously. I would like also to say, Ilsur Railsich, today we reported to our president the readiness of Kazan and Tatarstan to implement such projects, the readiness of our president. We said that the project is very complicated, it's very expensive, and the readiness for the theater to build such facility, the readiness not just to create some amazing object from the outside, but to equip it with all necessary technique, with all procedures, all processes that theater needs. It seems to me it's a big step ahead, and it's not that frequent that we use the phrase, it is a decent project and we are going to implement it, despite all difficulties. There is another thing I'm proud of, even though it's disputable and complicated. We worked in this room late yesterday. And Ilsur Raisovich, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to you as the chairman of the jury. You can see that there are 5 people at press conference, and 4 of them, yes, Farid Raskazich, of course, is the most important, and 4 of us were for Asif Khan. But we frankly calculated all votes. And the fact that we did it this way, take into consideration your opinion, that's why I am grateful to you. There were efforts to manipulate with the votes, but that we have listened to everyone, and that we preferred not to force the solution, but to respect opinions, even if we're against it. I am very grateful for that. I appreciate this highly, even though I do not personally agree with this solution, with this decision. And I'm very grateful for being part of the process which set forth the priorities. Thank you very much, Ilsur Raisovich. The floor is given to Farid Bekchintayev, Chief Artistic Director of Kamal Theatre. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I can say colleagues.
Well, we have the saying that whenever getting married, there is always some difficult moment. But I'd like to state that until I walked in this morning into this building, I honestly did not know who will win. And moreover, I was as confident that Bespoke will. I am honest in this statement. Yes, I wanted to, but until today I did not know the outcome. I'm grateful for all this process because this was a unique experience. It reminded some theatrical play, especially the yesterday that we have lived here all together. Deep thanks to all organizers, to you, Mr. Mayor, to Rad Hafizyan, Serhan Khwatulna, all the participants. It is an event of historic magnitude that has never been taking place in the history of Tatar people. And talking about the future, the responsibility is not only about building this structure, but also working in it. The change here won't be only in the building. We will have to change ourselves. The spectators will have to state this is indeed a challenge. The right word was used for us as well as for the spectators. Thus, no matter what changes we are going to have, Tatar theater would continue living. Its history is rich, its spectators love it, and they can't live without theater. Thus, I'm congratulating each and every one of us with this event and wish the best. Yesterday, if I may, Skandar Gilezov, the director of Tatar Encyclopedia Theater, shared an interesting story of his own. He said that his childhood and then the youth went at Gorky Street when he was going into that theater as a child and then as a teenager, and then there was a tragedy for him. A new building at Kaban Lake, completed in 1986. He said, it was as if my home was taken away from me. It has taken a lot of time for me to be able to overcome this problem and come into that building. And then I got used to it. And now I love this new building of theater, the new old building of Kamal Theater at Kaban. He said, guys, no matter what project we will end up choosing, we will eventually love it thanks to our performers, the wonderful plays, and the spirit of the theater. That was the note at which we stopped discussions yesterday. Indeed, we spoke openly and frankly. Look, we are discussing what's better. Maybe the fact that that would be foreign make cars would be there, what Rolls-Royce, Maserati, Ferrari, etc. But or Teslas, whatever brands there are. We were discussing yesterday that caliber type of works, but the fact that it would be a masterpiece that is setting the ongoing celebration of Tatar people centuries forward is clear. We ourselves. We will be now thinking about next levels of international contests, hoping and making everything possible to have peace, economic development, and cultural development that will help us to continue bringing the best of the best and continue this movement in the city. You know, we spoke about Asif, all of us. We didn't say anything about Kuma-san and Wow House. Oh, and the decision itself that we would not be doing a repair, but the reconstruction, but the building of a new theater. The decision was made when we went to the Electro Theater in Moscow that Kuma-san was responsible for making. We have information, we have their local partners that have experience of implementing, and not just implementation, but implementation of theatrical spaces, which means that it will be easier for us. We would not be making mistakes here. It's great that German Bakulin is part of this team. If not for German Alexeyevich, I think the application would have been weaker and positions would have been weaker. It's great that German Alexeyevich is part of this very strong consortium, and since he is part of the team that has contributed into the today's theater, is especially important. I believe that we will have this continuation, and it's great that he is part of this team. Research started looking at brands of cars. We recalled Tesla. Oh, we were choosing yesterday between Ferrari, Maserati, and Tesla. Asif is Tesla. Maybe we just don't have enough Tesla fuel stations. Maybe we are not just ready for that. But I'm quite confident that we will. So far, we got a wonderful project. And it would be unfair. Maybe we should have given ourselves the press conference tomorrow and cool down, because indeed we were all engaged emotionally. But I'm confident, and we talked a lot in the process, I guess with FCR and Farid Ravkatovich in the intermediate consultations with the finalists, that this synthesis of Japanese architects and Tatar culture can give us a very, very strong view from the side. And I think it did happen. And the fact that we would have, Kazan will have a project of Japanese architect with international recognition and a team that can implement it with such a reliable local partner as German Alexeyevich is an event. And the fact that Mr. President gives a chance to this to happen is a great joy. Should we go to questions? Yesterday, as a result of the meeting, some members of the jury share their opinions. Let's listen to Chopin Khamatova and Evgeny Mironov. Well, and still, I'm very, very happy that I witnessed today's discussion. I looked at such distinguished, worthy participants. I'm really jealous to people who will work in this theater. Honestly, I am terribly proud of Kazan, of the way the contest is organized, the way everything is implemented, the way everything is smooth, everything is proper, kind, respectable to each other, all participants, the quality, the level of participants. That's something that you couldn't have imagined somewhat 30 years ago when I was leaving Kazan, that Kazan would turn into such a magnet for the best of the best, where the most progressive and talented people and teams would be competing in the construction of a theater, not stadiums, Not some whatever military base or whatever the space station, launch pad, etc., but the theater. Such a happiness. At the same time, I'm very happy and very proud of the city, and very, very happy for the citizens of Kazan and the city itself. It's the first time I'm taking part in an architectural contest, but honestly, it reminds the other types of jury meetings because you quickly understand the level. The level for me is very easily defined, very, very high. I think you are cooler than anybody else. The way organizers treat this demonstrates that they are indeed, to their heart and soul, forgetting the best of the best. And what we have witnessed today, on one side, it is speaking about the level of activity of magnificent Kazan architects, as well as foreign members of the teams that have integrated deeply into the life of Tatarstan, penetrating the atoms of identity, of culture and history of Tatars. And I truly like the fact that everybody treated this professionally. Judging was relatively simple. We all understand that we are not choosing for today, but for future. There are a great many examples in history when residents were not understanding artistic objects, but then they were turning into a symbol of a city, not only a city, but of a country, such as Eiffel Tower. And it was honest atmosphere. Everybody spoke. We had actors of this wonderful theater and architects and just historians, and everybody was speaking honestly, expressing what their opinion. But it was pleasant that almost everybody was uniform out of what I heard. Well, I didn't know the result. I don't know the result. Anything can happen. Whatever the result would be there, but one single voice was speaking that we need to develop. We need to be listening to the opinion of professionals. I always trust professionals better than myself in topics I don't understand. But my feeling was that the opinion of professionals was very much in line with mine. And now the time comes to the ceremony, the awarding ceremony for the winners. Mr. Reisovich, please. The third place is consortium led by Metropolis Moscow, Russia. Members of the consortium Kum Himmelblau, Wolf del Bricks, All Myriada Group, Kazan, Russia. Second place, consortium led by Bespoke, Kazan, Russia, members of consortium, Asif Khan, London, England, Charcoal Blue, London, and Acti, London, UK, and Atelier 10, Glasgow, UK. Sorry, also Acti. And the winners of the contest is a consortium led by Bauhaus, Moscow, Russia, members of consortium Kengakuma and Associates, Tokyo, Japan, Werner Stobak, Werner Sobek, Stuttgart, Germany, PTM of Architecture Bakulin, Kazan, Russia. Dear friends, we would be very happy to have your questions, as well. We are very happy to have questions from our online broadcast. Please introduce yourself and ask a question. Veronika Baganova, Business Online. Dalia Lvovna, how would the work be organized at next stages? When will the construction work start? When the project will be ready to start construction? The question, Veronika, is probably in the coming. I believe this is the work agenda. It will take the coming few days. We would run negotiation with the winners. They would define the definition of responsibility because it's consortium that led. We would build that working format. The president intends to start as soon as possible. So I believe we would identify the work. We would be working with the winner and no other options. For this, you know that we are responsible for international contests. We are making the projects happen, and I believe that possibly even within this construction season we will be able to start some work. And if I believe we need to complete the construction by 2025, that was the instruction. We would try to make it happen. I'd like to give the floor to Kengo Kuma-san, the winner of the contest, and also pass on to the presentation of the winner's project. Please go ahead. Let's listen to Mr. Kengo-san and then respond to questions, and we will go on.
It's a great honor for us to be selected as first prize. This great important project. I really like the program of this project, as culturally it is very, very important, and complete program very much well organized, and also I really love the location. The lake is beautiful, and we try to create a harmony with the lake, harmony with the content, and also the Kazan culture and the Tatar tradition was really impressive for us. We try to translate the Tatar great tradition to contemporary vocabulary, and as for the implement process, we are working with you to create the real monument of this place and real monument of Tatar tradition. I'm grateful for all, and also I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, face to face. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would also like to give the floor to Mr. Oleg Shapiro from Wow House. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's a happiness that working in such an intensive and quality environment of the contest and become winners. Thank you for the trust. It would be a great opportunity to keep on working. At the same time, I'd like to state that this is just the beginning of a large route waiting for us forward, and I do hope that in 2025 we would come together and open this theater of ours, joint theater of ours together. It will require a lot of work. Thank you for trust. Looking forward for this project. And now the turn for questions, and now questions from YouTube. What would be the destiny of the old building?
And who should answer this question? That's why I will try to answer it. It's too early to think about it because for 2 or 3 years the theater will continue working where it is now. And second, the further destiny of this space has been indicated already by our president, that it will remain as a site for professional theater art, but it should be improved conceptually because it's a very responsible site. And we will need to have to preserve national spirit, and this will be also very important for our youth. That's why we will try to continue using the site as a national art. Are there any other questions? Good afternoon, Ilso Raisovich, information portal of the mayor's office of the city. Now there are a lot of facilities being built in Kazan, including sports facilities, transport facilities, which will all serve to our future generations. Would the new building of the theater become a landmark for Tatarstan? Of course, it goes without saying, and I'm quite sure that the growth of economy to implement such projects will provide this. But as far as the new site of the theater is concerned, we have passed a long road, thanks all to representatives of business. There was a whole set of questions concerning the ownership, the property, and everybody cooperated with us to prepare such project, and I hope that this will be a landmark of the old Tatar settlement, which has been neglected, and this is so depressive industrial site, which for dozens of years have been forgotten, but there is the heart of our city, our history, our soul, first of all, the old Tatar settlement. And it is a very ambitious project, and I hope that with this raise and new ways will give a new impetus to reconstruction of Kazan, transformation of Kazan. We understand that all those 5-story buildings, Khrushchevs, so there are a lot of things which should be reconstructed, such as the old bridge. So this is the challenge not only for the team of the theater, not only the cultural constituent of Kazan, but also a great challenge for us, for city builders, for urbanists, for all those who are responsible for the architectural image of the city. It is a great challenge, and we understand what we are going to do. We should not make only the improvement of these 5-6 hectares and the zoo and the embankment, because they're all related to each other. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Rosalia Khairullina, Kazanskie Vedomosti. I have the following question. What is the initial amount of financing? Where does the money come from? And choosing the winner, did a jury take into consideration the budget and whether any financial limitations for the contestants? In the conditions of the contest, there was a separate paragraph where we gave the financial limit and the cost of the project. And every contestant should give his or her evaluation of the project. We have just tentative numbers, and you can find them in the information published on site of the project. But after there is expertise of the project, we will surely not just inform you, but you will be following and witness the whole implementation of the project. If I may, I will ask the question from the online translation, because both Russian and foreign journalists are watching us. Are you planning to organize such contests in Kazan further? It's a question to us, because I cannot speak for Tatarstan, but I can answer on behalf of Kazan. We would like it to become a good tradition, because this brings us to a different level. The same reconstruction and improvement of Kaban was an international contest. Just imagine what we imagined before the contest and what Chinese company told us are quite different things, including that when we walked along Kaban, we witnessed how this site opened, and we are dreaming together with the chief architect and colleagues. And thank you very much for the president for supporting us. But it is very important to listen to a very authoritative expert community who should choose this, and I hope this will be a good tradition. Are there any other questions? If there are no questions, I would like to add something about competitions. Yesterday we're all changed, those who took part in the jury. And it seems to me that it is a very important experience. I think that everyone has learned something new, everyone has grown, has worked over his or her taste. That's why there should be a lot of such competitions, and then our community, not just the professional community, but our Tatarstan community, will have a better taste, and we will choose the better and better projects. Thank you. There is another question from online. How are you going to remove snow in winter? Won't there be any icicles falling on heads of the pedestrians? There were a lot of questions concerning this, and we even used a joke from the internet in this winter, even though it's not funny for me. Yes, Russia is great, but there is no place to remove snow. They asked these questions. Dear colleagues, you will have the possibility to look at the presentation of the project or projects. And we have representatives of the project, for example, German Bakulin, who answered these questions yesterday. We asked these questions, got answers. Yes, maybe there will be less snow by that time, because the weather is changing, the climate is changing. But all these questions, technical questions, have been worked out by the engineering and architectural thoughts. Colleagues, in conclusion, I congratulate you with such a wonderful work. 4 months. Creators were creating, and we learned together with them, and made it become a good tradition to have these contests and the visits of such talented, gifted, great stars. This is the highest good for all of us, for our students. It's like after visiting theater, you come a different person out of it. because you have the same emotions as the actors in the theater. That's why we also changed after this competition, and we hope that all this will be implemented for the architectural good, for the construction good of our Kazan and its future. Thank you so much. Colleagues, we have a possibility to stay and watch the presentation of the winners. That's why, if we may. Okay. Then that's all, and speaking from the press service of the competition, you will have all necessary materials. Thank you once again, and I congratulate the winners of the contest.
Мы начинаем, да? Дорогие друзья, давайте посмотрим еще
And dear
раз
friends,
на
let's
презентацию.
take another look at the presentation
Прокомментируем.
and comment. Now Mr. Shapiro is with us online. He's ready to make the presentation. So those of you who want to hear about this project firsthand, please stay in the first row. It is very interesting. It just takes up to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Please take your seats. We are ready. We can hear you, and we have a clicker, so we are ready to start. Wonderful. Let's get started.
Давайте теперь первый слайд.
So the first slide, please.
Важно, что мы
It is important that we tried.
Для нас очень важный контекст этого места. Природа.
For us, the context of this site is very important. The nature, old Tatars theater, and culture of the Tatars. Next slide, please. It was very important to keep for us no sound. In the proportions of the new theater. It seemed to us if the old theater is understood as a kind of a sail, we use an illusion with this form. It seemed to us that it was important to keep the memory of this form. In the new room, for us, it's a kind of some flight, our strive.
Мы посмотрели,
we looked at our Japanese colleagues, looked at this unique local phenomenon, these ice flowers. In addition, these ice, winter Tatarstan, winter lakes seem very important for us. We understand that in winter, our theater becomes part of nature, and it's very important that it is in its context. The theater is part of nature, which rises behind the lake. On the other hand, in summer, these glass big panels reflect the sky, greenery, thus dissolving in the landscape. The closer we come, the more warmth from the inside we see. Nevertheless, these glass panels slightly hide the interior, reflecting nature. It's a kind of an intermediate between culture and the nature. On the other hand, studying some national peculiarities, we can see a very definite shape-directed geometry, in culture, tradition in the culture of everyday life of Tatarstan. That's why it is an image of a crystal which reflects the whole surrounding world. It seemed to us that this Tatar tradition, life of Tatarstan, a national character, looks like an arrow. That's why for us the arrow which is pointed to up is a symbol which was translated in the theater. And when we come closer, when we can see our theater in nature, then large glasses reflect themselves nature and dissolve in the nature, being not that sharp and aggressive. They are dissolved in nature. The theater is located on the south of the lake, and this is very important because the city is developing southwards. It is center, and the lake itself is developing as a central part of the city. And the theater as if helps becoming a new center of development of the city of Kazan. It goes without saying it will be one of the most important parts of the development southwards. We say that there is a certain cluster of cultural facilities around this site, and we hope that our theater will unite this cluster around itself and will develop something united cultural space in this site. And a specialization of this part of the city will be in culture. We are talking about the fact that this facility, of course, deforms the city. We understand that we will have to remove the cargo, the freight transport. We understand that there are 2 metro stations within the stone's throw, and the new district will be transformed. It will be more permeable, and all these solutions are already integrated into your city building plan of the sustainable development of the city, and we are following this plan. This is the view of the theater from the top, and it is maximum integrated into the landscape. If we have the upper roof, which rises 14 meters high, and we can see a lake, and we are also connected with a promenade along the embankment of the lake, and on the left bottom we can see a swimming stage which can be used for performances. There is an amphitheater. You can walk around and to look at the stage from all sides. It's quite logical that the theater goes down the lake. On this slide, it's quite clear what we wanted to express. It is an expression of a national character, which is rather sharp and rigid from exterior and very warm and hospitable from the inside. We always see internal light behind these panels. And this is how the theater looks like at the evening. Inside there is light, and it dissolves in this space. In the evening, we see the internal part of the theater, the heat of culture and creative work. And this is the part of the night. Well, if during the day it is a crystal reflecting nature, then at night it is another crystal glowing from the inside. You can see the greenery there. We are forming additional park on the background, and the upper platform, a 14-meter high roof, is planted with bushes and plants, giving the possibility to avoid overheating. You can get to this roof from the ramps from all other sides. So on the upper picture, you see the foyer. It is on one level. It is a great level, absolutely permeable. It has 3 entrances, one of them from the side of the lake. And from this surface, just flat surface, you can reach all 4 main halls. There are no any obstacles. A lot happens in this space, not only performances, there are lectures, there's a cafeteria. You can organize excursions, you can organize festivals here. In fact, we are designing a theater which will always be open any time of the year, any part of the day. It is an open theater for the city. We show how the circulation of the spectators here. You can see the main hall for 600 places. This is ideal capacity for the drama theater. On the 2nd and 3rd floor, you can see the spectators have the possibility to come out to the balconies. And if the 1st floor is completely given to the spectators, then the last floor it is also given to the spectators. You can use it for walking, for looking at the views. There's also a dancing hall, which can be used as a rehearsal room and as a dancing platform, open for the city. And there is also a restaurant. And this is very important for us, because it seemed to us, but it's very important to take care of the theater team, which is not always true with all theaters. On the 1st floor, we have the loading dock, where there are all workshops necessary to the theater, and they all have natural lighting.
Main rehearsal room is also there. It's working for the needs of the stage as one more stage. If we take a look at level 3, here you see the main area where the company's life is taking place. On the 3rd floor, you are seeing one more rehearsal area as well as a rehearsal room for the orchestra. Dressing and makeup rooms, and nearby meeting rooms and co-works. And this space can be used not only to serve the internal needs of this theater, but a much wider city. And in between this so-called kingdom of the actors and administration segment is connected over the connection. And from that floor, 3 actors can get to any site, either by stairs or by elevator, to any floor, which is very, very important for smooth theatrical process. And if you take a look at the top section, you see that whole of the theater organized in a way as to be mainly on the street level, and the level of this theater is not changing much. It's part of the city. The city has interiorized this theater, and the theater interior merges into the city. It is fully accessible to all mobility groups in here. This theater is permeable, where the spectators can see almost anything. They see parts or main part of the creative process, the movements of actors in their kingdom. At the same time, whenever necessary, these things can be closed, and people moving around are having ability to reach out all around, even the theatrical space to in front of the lake, etc. One of the entrances, and here, look, when we are coming, we see that all of the inner decorations, if on the outside it's the reflection of today's reality, all of the interior decorations are based on the national traditions of centuries-old culture of Tatars. So in here, when we are coming in, we are having transparent structures around every hall, and whenever a play is performed at one of the stages, the space in between those, let's call them elements of the walls, they are serving the for ticketing purposes and control. Well, you see that all those components that we need, we are decorating or building out of the decoration, and the main hall is as open as possible. We are having 600 seats, very well technically developed. We are working with Arab Theater, a large engineering company that is working with advanced theatrical technologies. You see that we are having a round-shaped hall that allows us to bring people to the actors and organize the interaction between spectators, actors, as well as spectators with one another. It was very important for us that this hall ends up being of circular shape as much as possible to bring all the spectators together into some sort of a community. The next hall is the universal one, also based on national traditions. We see in the lower left corner the changes of fabric decorative panels that are on one side serving the acoustic needs, at the same time giving the ethnic character to the space, and that hall can be transformed in as many ways as possible. One of the images showing how we can make it ethnic space. So you see a window is opening up outside, and this is a metaphor of a home. So people are coming home. And whenever we need to simplify the task for the director, we can turn this into a classical black box, the most widely used configuration of theatrical spaces today. Plus we have another hall, the Eastern Hall, which is round. It was important for us to bring as much nature there as possible. It can be lit from both above and from the side. It's also universal, it is transformable. Daytime performances, they are taking place at when we are fully merging with nature. We are having light from above, we are having a light and window to the lake, and you are having a sort of a ring that is surrounded by spectators, maximum interaction. And if it's an evening performance, then it's a classically closed, comfortable space where people are interacting with one another, maximum interaction of spectator and the performer. We have another room called Chamber Hall, which is in the foyer for some 50 people, open for lectures, recitals, etc., or just coming together. In here, we can also use this facility jointly with the Universal Hall. This slide is used to demonstrate that the spaces that we have organized seemingly in a complex manner can be implemented very easily. We don't have complex panels, that's the glass and steel panels and columns at different angles. We did receive a lot of questions about snow, etc., and such simple panels are helping us to shape this space. Ultraviolet panels are helping us to screen ultraviolet light, reflect elements, help us to keep the temperature balance, overheating or overcooling. Here we are demonstrating that we do talk a lot about sustainability of the structure, about the ecology. And we organize the structure in a way that it gets as much of air circulation. Obviously, artificial one is also being used, but the natural component is paid attention to very much. We are protecting ourselves from overheating by using plants as well as water surfaces we introduce, bringing a very environmentally comfortable space for such a strong engineering complex structure. And we are using a simple structural column and truss structure for to create such a future-oriented building. And the steel trusses that are covering the structure above allows us to create large size spaces that do not have columns, such as large halls and foyers. In here we are giving you the spatio magic, and you have light spaces everywhere. And the last slide of ours here, we are talking about a structure which is multifunctional, which is full of different events, and it's obviously changing the landscape of the city, redistributing it. At the same time, since it's very much inscribed into the nature, it is changing the natural landscape, becoming part thereof. And finally, we hope that it will somehow turn into another milestone, into historic milestone of the development of the city, talking to existing Kamal Theater, organizing this, say, cross-generational conversation, and this link between times is very important for both the actors as well as the authors. Thank you very much, Oleg Arkadyevich, for a wonderful presentation. Thus, we are rounding up the presentation, and in the conclusion of press conference, we would demonstrate a video about the project that was presented yesterday at the jury, and which will be accessible to all our spectators thanks to YouTube, Facebook, and all other channels. Thank you.
Should be a part of Kemal Theater's long history. It should have the spirit of Kemal Theater, so the theater will be passed on as a symbol and will not be forgotten. The strong impression to me about this city is that diverse religions and cultures coexist harmoniously here. The new Kemal Theatre is located on the site of Kaban Lake, facing the classic Kemal Theatre. It is surrounded by a rich nature with a natural forest, a lake that shows various faces in different seasons. The concept of our proposal is about the continuity to build connections between the new theater with the story of the classic Kemal Theatre, with unique nature and climate, with distinctive Tatar culture and tradition. The new theater should be a part of Kemal Theatre's long history. We decided to inheritance the strong, iconic triangle facade of the Kemal Theatre and to interpret the classic triangle facade into a modern, transparent, and harmonious design language. At the same time, the new theater is a reflector of surroundings. The geometry comes from the unique ice flower in Kaban Lake, and with the material of the facade, the building reveals various faces by reflecting the forest, the lake, the sky, and the citizens in different seasons. Here is how we image the building within surroundings. The building rising from the ground naturally, the whole building blends into nature like the terrain and gradually introduce citizens into the theater. The theater itself is a park. This is a basic planning for ground floor, surrounded by 3 main performing halls. In the lobby, we introduced feature textured walls to reflect and celebrate Tatar's traditional art culture, warmness, rich colors. About the performing space, to start with the Great Hall. The room impression is defined through balconies and colonnades, like the traditional Tatar and Islam space. The audience can feel that they surround the stage together and share the same experience during the performance. For Universal Hall, we think it is a functional room. We are inspired by the patchwork pattern and fabric texture from traditional Tatar crafts. They slide from the ceiling and create a vibrant and cozy atmosphere of traditional Tatar dwelling. At the same time, the Universal Hall is a simple black box. All the attention on the performance. For the round hall, we are totally agreed with the spirit of blending the stage, the performance with the nature, the reality. So here, we connect the room closely to the outside environment, trying to reflect nature to the stage. The movements and energy of performance will be accumulated and reflected by architecture as medium. The inspiration of our proposal is strongly based on the classic Kemal theaters and surrounding natural elements. We are aiming to create a unique space only for people in Kazan, to inheritance the beautiful story of this land.